Ferrari's season hits rock bottom in Qatar. Hamilton's performance takes a nosedive, Leclerc frustrated, and Vasseur admits defeat. Scuderia in shambles as the SF25 crumbles under pressure. Under the floodlights of Lusail, the story took another cruel twist. Lewis Hamilton, 40 years old, 7-time world champion, and now the face of Ferrari's faltering debut season, found himself staring at the timing screens in disbelief. Just a week after the humiliation of qualifying dead last in Las Vegas, Hamilton's struggles continued. Knocked out in SQ1, his Ferrari once again refused to bend to his will. And in that moment over the team radio, Hamilton's voice carried the weight of frustration and confusion. Speaking to race engineer Riccardo Adami, it wasn't just a driver reporting back, it was a champion searching for answers in a car that seemed determined to betray him. "Oh man, the car won't go any faster." And when the microphones found him afterwards, Hamilton's words carried the same weight as his lap times. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, he didn't mask the disappointment. His tone was measured, but the frustration seeped through. This wasn't the voice of a rookie learning the ropes, but of a 7-time champion grappling with a car that refused to obey. Same as always. Pressed on whether there was anything to look forward to on Saturday in the Gulf, Hamilton's reply was blunt. He offered no optimism, no silver lining, just a flat acknowledgement that little could be expected. It was the sound of a champion stripped of answers facing another weekend of struggle. The weather's nice. It was another bruising outing in Hamilton's first season with Ferrari, but by day's end his focus had shifted. Determined to reset, he looked ahead to the 19-lap sprint, hoping for a stronger showing. "Tough day out there," he said in a team press release. "We tried a couple of different setups, and it just didn't work out for us. But we'll dig into the data tonight and figure out how to come back fighting for a better day tomorrow." Across the garage, Charles Leclerc's night told a similar story. 9th in sprint qualifying, he admitted Ferrari were very slow. Blocked by Carlos Sainz on his final run, Leclerc felt a slightly better grid spot had slipped away, but in truth, the SF25 remains off the pace. Hamilton's SQ1 exit only underlined the team's struggles. After a bruising weekend in Las Vegas, Ferrari's problems carried straight into Qatar. In practice, Leclerc complained of power steering issues and finished 8th, nearly 8/10ths down. Qualifying brought little relief. Though he cut the gap to pole to just over half a second, he still ended 9th. A 10th quicker might have put him on the 3rd row, but instead he faces the sprint from the midfield, frustrated by the car's lack of speed and consistency. Not the whole session, just the last lap. He was creating a gap to the car in front just before safety car line 2, which created a bit of stress for everyone behind. He had the right to do it, but it's very annoying, and in some cases not even necessary, Charles Leclerc said when asked about the incident with his former teammate. "It's a shame, but I started the lap too close, and when you see the gap between us and the top 5, you can say that I could have done a better qualifying. Apart from that, we are very slow, and we are struggling once again," he added. When pressed on whether a top 5 finish was realistic, Leclerc's answer was clear. He didn't believe it was. His tone reflected the same frustration seen throughout the weekend. Ferrari's pace simply wasn't there. "I'm just a few hundredths or at most a 10th from Tsunoda, who is 5th, so we had the potential to do it. But on the other hand, we are struggling, so for now, it has been a difficult weekend." As the 2025 season neared its end, Ferrari's messaging took a decisive turn. On Thursday, Charles Leclerc admitted the team had sacrificed the end of the season to fully focus on next year. By Friday, team principal Fred Vasseur confirmed it. Ferrari had shifted resources to 2026 much earlier than anyone expected. The decision, Vasseur explained, was born from disappointment. Even after the summer break, results failed to improve, and the hope of a single victory grew increasingly unrealistic. In his press conference, he pointed to the moment Ferrari chose to abandon the SF25 and the current campaign, accepting that the fight was already lost, and the future had to take priority. "We didn't start in the best way. The double disqualification in China cost us a lot of points compared to our rivals. It was still early in the season. But McLaren was dominating the first 4 or 5 events so much that we realized it would be very difficult for 2025. The French manager added, "This meant that we decided very early in the season, around the end of April, I believe, to focus on 2026. It was a difficult decision, and perhaps I underestimated the psychological impact a bit because there were still 20 races to go. And you know that no aerodynamic development will be brought. It's quite hard to manage psychologically, but overall we continue to push. We've made some mechanical updates, we're trying to improve the car's performance, and this is the DNA of motorsport." When asked if anything positive could be salvaged from 2025, Fred Vasseur struck a half-full tone. He acknowledged the season's failures, but pointed to lessons learned and groundwork laid for 2026. It was less about celebrating results, more about framing the struggle as preparation for what comes next. Even in a difficult season, I think we had a decent recovery in terms of performance. We returned to the podium in Mexico and Austin. I'd say that in São Paulo, we were not far from saying that we were on the right track. That's positive for the team, and also psychologically. You always improve a little everywhere, in every single aspect. It's the best preparation for 2026. But the most important part of this objective is that we agreed from the start that we would invest our maximum energy in the future. We have to react as a team. Across the paddock, timing the shift to next year's car has been one of the season's defining debates. Ferrari moved early, chasing an edge under the new regulations. But the cost was clear. From the outside, their championship unraveled. Inside, the strain was psychological. Fred Vasseur insisted the choice was collective, even as driver comments suggested otherwise. And despite the public reprimand from President John Elkann, the team held firm. The sacrifice of 2025 was a decision they all stood behind. First of all, this decision was shared by everyone in the team. At some point, looking at the championship, you say, okay, it will be very difficult to catch McLaren with the pace delta and points gap. And you say, okay, these are at least the resources we have in the wind tunnel. Let's focus on 26. On the other hand, you can still continue to develop the mechanical side, make some updates to the car, and that's what we did. It was a good exercise. The drivers were part of this decision because they are committed to the project, and it's something we all have to share. In these situations, you have to act as a team, and that's what we did. Ferrari's 2025 campaign has unraveled. Hamilton defeated, Leclerc frustrated, and Vasseur already looking to 2026. The SF25 stands as a symbol of struggle. But what do you think? Is Ferrari's sacrifice bold strategy or pure collapse?